This episode is brought to you by Farmers Insurance. When was the last time you reviewed your insurance policy? It's been a while, huh? Well, no worries. My friends at the Austin Brummett Agency would love to hear from you and provide you with some amazing rates. Give them a call at 678-402-8262 or email them at abrummett@farmersagent.com. That's ABRUMIT@farmersagent.com. And tell them Harli sent you. You're listening to Inside the Bubble with Harli G, the podcast for the superwoman. Every week, we connect with amazing individuals who share their inspirational experiences and stories while motivating and inspiring purpose. It's time to hang your cape. Grab your coffee, your water, your cocktail, and come on in Inside the Bubble with me, your host, Harli G. And today I have Cindy is back. I have Cindy. Cindy's here with me today. And we are going to talk about eating disorder. So it's a little bit of a interesting subject. I don't know if interesting is the word I would use, but and so I think this is really important because when you came on the last time, we talked about mental illnesses and OCD. That was one of the things. Those were some things that we talked about. And you did mention that is very common, or you can see the distinction between people that have mental illnesses translating to OCD and eating disorders.
Well, I think there's a correlation between having OCD and having eating disorders.
Okay.
Or I probably should refer to it as disordered eating, because I was never clinically diagnosed with anything. I can just look at the patterns that I exhibited. And I think that's the difference is an eating disorder, you've taken it to an extreme and you've been clinically diagnosed as having a specific disorder, as opposed to disordered eating where you have patterns of behavior that are clearly not normal. Normal is a bad word. Clearly not treating yourself in a positive way. I think that's probably more what I experienced, because I certainly never got myself diagnosed with it.
Okay.
I think that I know that people who have OCD are more likely to have an eating disorder or a disordered eating issue. I don't really know why, but my guess based on my own experience is because if you're likely to obsess about something, you can obsess about your body or the food that you're consuming or any of those things just as easily as anything else.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. So I want to get into your story first. So how did this come about? And when did the light bulb go off in your head? Like, I don't think something's right here. Was it around the same time that the OCD kind of started manifesting, or were they two different kind of time frames?
No, so I would say that, I have always had body issues.
Okay.
I went on my first diet in elementary school.
So when you said body issues, you mean like...
Not
okay, because
people being happy with the way my body looked.
Okay, but I still feel like that's a little bit general because I'm gonna say
I was fat.
I still think that I know, but
Damn, woman.
I know. You're like, what do you want me to say? No, only because I feel like that is an emotion that 80% of women or girls go through. I feel like I'm not gonna say it's normal, but I definitely feel like at some point when you're a girl, don't know about men, but at some point when you're a girl, I feel like I've had those conversations with my girlfriends even then at some point, right?
No, I think you're right. I think most women at least at some point during their life, were not happy with their body.
Right. Okay? Correct.
I think that's true. I don't think that most women start that at age 8.
Ah, okay.
And looking back, I was not overweight at age 8.
I was just going to ask you that. I was like, but were you really overweight?
No,
or were you... Okay.
I wasn't. But here's the thing, people have different body types, right?
Right.
So there are people who are naturally like a pole.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who
they
just carry their weight differently,
exactly.
Right? So
I carried it in my booty and my thighs.
But I guess what I'm saying is, and I don't like the term big boned because that sounds stupid.
Yeah.
But there's some truth to that. Some people are wider set bones. Mm-hmm. Some people tend to I carry my weight in my that's
in
right in my stomach,
right? Stomach, right.
But when I look back at pictures, so I was never a string bean child,
mm-hmm.
right? But there is not a pediatrician in the world at age 8 that would have said I was overweight.
Right. You need to go on a diet. Right.
No.
So no one would have said that at that time.
No.
What do you think triggered it at that time? Were you around a lot of... Did somebody say something to you on the playground?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's dig into that.
I mean, it's something to dig into. I mean, I can remember coming back after the summer once, and this girl coming to me going, well, I see you're still chubby.
Whoa! Wow.
Yeah.
And you weren't chubby at that time.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I also wasn't skinny.
Okay.
Right? I wasn't skinny, mm-hmm. but I wasn't chubby either. I was just a normal child.
Right.
I was very active. We mm-hmm. played outside all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We either walked or rode our bikes to school. It didn't matter the season.
Yeah.
I didn't sit in front of the TV all the time. Right. Video games didn't exist then.
We didn't have that back then.
Right.
We did not have the internet. We did not. Yes,
right.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying I didn't sit and read books sometimes or play board games or
but not enough
parties or whatever
get
else.
You fat.
But I was a very active child.
Right.
And we didn't have junk food all through the house.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't fat.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't skinny.
But she planted that seed.
And I almost hesitate to say this because I don't want, if my parents were to listen to this, I don't want them to feel bad. They did their best,
mm-hmm.
right? And I know that I've messed up with my children, particularly my daughter, from this perspective as well because I still struggle with it.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom was always skinny,
mm-hmm.
and she always put a lot of importance upon that.
Okay.
So my parents also emphasized that I wasn't skinny. They worried about me being something that I wasn't yet.
Okay. So it's just kind of promoting this lifestyle or whatever.
Yeah.
And not in their mind, kind of in a healthy way to bring awareness.
Right.
Okay. And then, but it kind of gave you a complex at the same time.
Right.
Got it.
As a child.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think, I don't know if I'm predisposed to not being skinny. I mean, I did gain weight then, later as a child. We moved when I was 11.
Okay.
And where we moved to, kids didn't play outside. Kids didn't ride their bikes all over the place. Kids didn't walk to school anymore. And became more sedentary.
Mm-hmm.
And I was never athletic,
mm-hmm.
so I didn't go out for sports. I didn't enjoy them, and I wasn't good at them.
So this happened, okay, so the 8-year-old thing, first time you noticed it happened when you were, in elementary school. So then you guys move. Then you're now in middle school?
6th grade.
6th grade, okay. So you're beginning the most awkward years of your life, because that's what I call middle school.
It's true.
The most awkward years of...
Right.
I had a Jerry girl.
You what?
I had a Jerry girl. A Jerry curl.
Got it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was greasy and
Sorry
curly.
to hear that.
Thank you. Thank you for empathizing.
If you need moral support later, we can talk about it.
I do because back then it was just the thing, but now I'm looking what in the world? Again, middle school, awkward years. Okay, so you're now entering middle school. You have been struggling with this for a few years. So between then and by the time you hit middle school, did you gain more weight?
Yeah.
What started happening with your eating habits?
So when you're in elementary school, your parents kind of control everything you consume.
Yeah.
And then when you get to be, 11, 12, 13, suddenly you're staying up later than your parents some of the time. And they're at work when you come home from school now. And you have more control. They have less control.
Yeah.
And I didn't always make the best decisions.
Okay.
So I ate junk. Now, did I balloon to 200 pounds? No, I did not.
Okay.
Did I gain some weight? Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I definitely did. And I was, middle school's a blur. Could be completely frank. Middle school's a blur. But
you tend to want to forget those years.
I mean, yeah, I was heavier in middle school. I was heavier. Really what happened then is I started my cycle of yo-yo dieting at that point.
Okay. So you're like, I'll eat for a couple of weeks or a few weeks or whatever, a period. I'll eat really well, or try to. And then I'm like,
No, that would imply that I did it well.
Okay.
I just wanted to eat better. I always had a desire to be skinny.
Right.
I still have a desire to be skinny.
Which you're...
Again, I don't think people would consider me fat. I'm certainly not clinically overweight.
You're not.
But I don't consider myself skinny.
Okay.
But I always had a desire to be skinny. I always figured my life would be better if I was skinny.
Why is that, though? Why? Do you think skinny people have a better life? Yeah. I don't mean to sound that way.
Yeah.
Sorry, I came across.
Yeah, I mean, at the time at least, I felt like I'd have more... I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself.
You think that now?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think actually there's a lot of bias in this world towards heavy people.
There is. Absolutely there is. So when you're thinking that skinny people have it better than other people, how?
I think that people look at heavier people, not mildly heavy, but heavier people, and they make assumptions that aren't necessarily true. They might assume that they're lazy. They might assume that they don't care about how they look or their health. And it might be on not lazy like not physically fit, but maybe lazy like they don't do work, or they just sit around, or they're selfish, or they don't make time for the right things, or their life is full of bad decisions. And actually, I think there's some statistics that I certainly don't have the knowledge to quote, but could back up that it is harder for overweight people to get jobs and certain promotions. And I mean, I think there is an all-out bias towards overweight people that doesn't necessarily get talked about a lot. But quite frankly, none of that played into it. I just wanted to be skinny.
Okay.
The popular kids were all skinny. The kids, the girls with the cuter boyfriends were all skinny. In my head, my life would be better if I was thin.
Okay.
Also, God, I hate to say this because, again, I really do love my parents, and I don't really think they meant to do me mental harm in any way, shape, or form. But they actually told me that other people may not love me if I was fat.
Okay.
So, that.
Did you have boyfriends?
Nope.
You didn't. Okay. So, here you are in middle school. Awkward years again. You're on yo-yo dieting, and you have kind of like these perceptions, and your perception is your reality, right? That's you know, about skinny people. And when do you feel like this is when it began to get out of control? No. Okay.
No, but so I did Weight Watchers in high school, and I lost like 20, 30 pounds. I don't know. I don't remember, because I don't remember how heavy I got before I went on to it. But it didn't stay off. You know, and I don't know. I mean, you could point to lots of different reasons why it didn't stay off. Weight Watchers, in theory, is teaching you how to eat healthy. Yeah. But if nobody else in the household is eating the same way you're eating, right, then how is it? It's not really. You don't look at what you're doing as normal or sustainable. Those habits are not. You're doing it right. You're different than what everyone else is doing. Right. And even though I was on Weight Watchers, I didn't do it correctly. I still would no, I'm going to. Well,
you were what? You were still in middle school then?
High school.
You were in high school, but yeah, like high school doing I don't know. I feel like Weight Watchers is for I don't want to say older people, but people that are mature. I don't know. I guess that's
I don't know if that's completely true. I mean, obviously it's not, because I went to it. And, I mean, I don't know that it was bad for me to do. I just don't know that I did it well, and then I didn't stick with it. I didn't do any kind of maintenance with it. I didn't, like, the Weight Watchers way is you're supposed to keep going afterwards. Like, they don't charge you anymore, but you keep coming in for weigh-ins and stuff to help you maintain, which, of course, I didn't do.
Yeah. So, you're going through this...
I wouldn't call any of this disordered eating at this point, by the way. I would call most of this adolescence and...
Right, like, just, like, trying to figure out life.
Like you said, a million different women went through the same thing.
Exactly.
Right. I didn't take it to any extremes.
So, it hasn't gotten out of hand yet.
Other than I would hide eating.
Oh.
My parents used to harp on me to exercise. And this was back in the day when you had cassette tapes that had,
my gosh,
Jane Fonda or Richard Simmons or whatever on it.
Richard Simmons. Oh my goodness. You went there. You went the little shorts and the tape. Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd go to my room and I would put this little tape in, this cassette tape in, and I would play it, but I wouldn't do it. And I'd just bring snacks in with me, and I would eat my snack and read my book and let them.
And so then your
play in
parents,
the background, so my parents thought I was exercising.
Thought you were exercising.
So they would stay off my back and complain about me not exercising.
Got it. Okay. So
that probably wasn't normal.
Probably. Yeah, you know.
But it was the easy way for me to get out of the conversation I didn't feel like having. I didn't want to argue with my parents about it.
Yeah. But, it sounded like you weren't ready to face it then either. Were you? Were you?
What do you mean by face it?
Facing that you had an issue with eating.
I mean, I felt like my issue was I overate, but I certainly wasn't. If I wanted to do something about it, then I surely wasn't. I wanted to be thin, but I didn't want to do anything to make myself.
You didn't want to do the work, kind of.
Well, I didn't want it to be work. It wasn't work for everybody else. Why does it work for me?
Got it. So you are, for all intents and purposes, working out, right? You're working out, but you're eating or doing whatever else you want to do instead. And so this is the end of high school?
Yeah, probably junior, senior year.
Junior, senior year, high school. And are you even overweight then?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So
I am overweight.
You got to
I'm not huge, but I'm overweight.
But you are overweight.
Huge, that seems mean. Let's quantify it. Okay. I am probably 20 to 25 pounds overweight.
Which is, I mean...
not ridiculous.
Right.
Right. I mean, I'm 5'3", and I was probably... 150, 160.
Oh my gosh.
I probably should have, and when I felt good about myself at that point in time, I was, well, even still now, I was like 130, 135. Yeah.
Right. So like, nothing like, oh my gosh, you know.
I wasn't extreme.
Okay.
And I honestly never got extreme.
Okay.
But still in my head. And in reality, I was overweight. Okay. 100%. But might even have been clinically obese because it doesn't take much to be...
But then think about your height, right? So your height kind of plays into it.
Well, I've always said that I'm not overweight, I'm under tall.
Oh my God, I'm using that. I am so using that. Remember that. I'm going to use it.
It's all yours.
You should like trademark that. You know? That is so awesome. That really is awesome. Okay. All right. So here you are, the end of junior, senior, end of high school. You're like 20, maybe 30 pounds at the most overweight, right? Okay. And you're still kind of struggling with eating the right things and just really put in the work to maybe lose a few pounds, right? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not, In my head, I want to do something, but I'm not really ready to do it.
But you're not really ready to get there. Okay. And so now it's time to go to college.
Right.
It's time to go away.
Yep.
Okay. So what happens? And how far away from college? How far away from home did you go?
An hour.
Okay. So you're not too far. You can go back home.
Right.
On the weekends. Heck, you can come back home every day. But with the way this Atlanta traffic is, your commute.
Could have, yeah.
I could have
commuted in hindsight, yeah.
Exactly. So, you go away to college, for all intents and purposes. And so then, now in college, you get to college, there's a variety of individuals from all walks of life, all shapes and sizes, from everywhere, and so does that kind of help with, there are people all over, from everywhere that are all shapes and sizes. Like, okay. Did that change your perception a little bit going to college? It did. Okay. So then, did it get worse?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. What happened, the real beginning of the end.
Beginning of the end.
My freshman year in college, my brother got engaged.
Okay.
No, take that back. They'd been engaged. My brother set a wedding date.
Okay.
It was about April, and they decided they were getting married in August. And I was going to be in the wedding, and my mom, I distinctly remember this, my mom says to me on the phone, Cindy, you said that you were going to lose weight before their wedding. You've always said you were going to lose weight before their wedding.
Wow.
Remember, it's
talking about accountability.
It's always been important to my mom.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And she was raised that way. It was important to her dad. He used to comment all the time about how happy he was that all 4 of his daughters were thin.
Okay.
Right? So, I mean, you are what you hear.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. So I said, all right, I am. I'm going to do it. And I started dieting that day. Mm-hmm. I don't have any idea.
And so how far was, just to kind of get an idea, how far was the date from that day?
It was 4 months.
Okay.
It was April, and it went into August, and I honestly can't believe I remember that, but it's true.
Wow. Okay.
It was April, they were getting married in August.
Okay.
And I don't know what I weighed then. 160. Okay. 165. I don't know. I doubt it. I actually got on the scale at that point, so I don't really know. But by their wedding, I was 125.
Wow.
Because I basically stopped eating.
Okay.
I ate a bowl of Cheerios for breakfast. And I ate a bowl of soup for dinner.
Every day?
Every day.
That was it?
That was it.
Okay.
And I walked everywhere.
Got it.
I never got on the bus. It was on a big campus, and I walked where I had to go. So
here we are in August. Okay. So in August, you're 125. How do you feel, though?
I feel great.
You feel great. Okay.
I feel amazing.
Okay.
Because I finally feel good in how I look. And I'm feeling all myself.
I'm on top of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And,
I did it.
And my fraternity brothers are there, and I'm dancing with all of them, and I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at that time, I'm like, yeah, they want to hang out with me because I'm thin. Because that's what it's always
Not
about.
Because you're at a wedding and everybody's dancing with each other.
And nobody really liked me.
Nobody wants
them. Exactly. Wasn't entering any kind of relationship. We were just dancing.
But in your mind, going back to the skinny thing.
It was better because I was thin and my life was better.
They're only dancing with me because I'm skinny.
Yep. They're only talking to me because I look good.
Okay. So the wedding happens. You're feeling good. You're on a high. You are skinny. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to keep this up. Right? Okay. So then the wedding goes up. The wedding is done. You go back to college life. Are you still eating Cheerios and soup?
I'm eating Cheerios.
Okay.
And usually some kind of lean cuisine and a vegetable for dinner. Okay. And I get down to about 110.
What?
And 110 for my body at 5'3". And I'm still walking everywhere. And I wake up every morning and I do one of my I do a Jane Fonda workout.
So now we're promoting it. We're doing Jane now. We went from Richard Simmons
to Jane Fonda.
We have upgraded.
But I'm not just listening to it. I'm actually doing it.
You're actually doing it.
And then I'm parking on campus as far away from all my classes as I can park so I can get all the extra miles in walking.
And how long was the tape?
It's like an hour.
Wow. You're keeping up with Jane Fonda for an hour.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, you could. But yeah, so I'm doing that, and I'm still not eating a lot, but I'm eating. But what happens is, I don't eat much during the week, and then I'd eat more on the weekends.
Got it.
And I weigh myself every day. So I'd see my weight kind of go up, and by Monday I'd be like 115, 116, 117.
But then during the week,
then I just stop eating most things, and I drop back down to 500 calories a day kind of thing. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that, I had this pair of jeans that I would wear every Friday because they fit on Friday.
Wow!
And
they were your Friday jeans.
Yep.
And then that was your measuring tape.
Kinda, yeah.
Wow. So not a scale.
I had a scale too, but yeah.
But your jeans were the measuring. So how long did that go on?
So went home for Christmas.
So we started in August. Oh, the wedding was in August. Now here we are at Christmas.
In September.
Go back to school in September.
Kind of stayed at the 110. Went home for Christmas. And
what did your family say when they saw you?
Oh, they thought I looked great.
Huh. Okay.
My dad, I remember my dad saying once, so you're never gonna gain weight again? And I was like, nope. That was a lie, but nope. I thought it was true at the time.
Yeah.
So I go home for Christmas, and I'm home for like a month, and kind of eat what I want to eat. Gain 10 pounds.
Okay, so now we're like around 120-ish. Okay.
Can't fit in my Friday jeans.
Oh, the Friday jeans. Okay. So we can't fit in the Friday jeans.
Can't fit in my Friday jeans.
Okay.
So,
and but you're eating whatever you want. But wait, you're home. This is around the holidays. You're home for how long?
Like a month.
So you're home for a month, and you get up to
I
gain 10 pounds. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, I gotta get rid of this 10 pounds. So I cut down on how much I'm gonna eat there, and I started eating my Cheerios for breakfast and an apple at some point during the day.
Cheerios and apple.
And that's all I ate.
That's all you ate all day.
I had milk with my Cheerios.
Oh wow. Okay. So your Cheerios, apple for a month while you're home.
No. After I went back to school.
After you went back to school. Okay, got it.
No,
okay.
I don't think I could have gotten away with that at home.
Right. So you're back to school, you're eating Cheerios and an apple, and does the weight come back down?
It does, and I decided that I want to try and get under 100 pounds.
Wow.
And I get down to about 105. And I had a seizure.
Wow.
I passed out and was apparently seizing on the floor. And my roommate, I remember hearing my roommate go, freaking out. And she's like, you got to call 911. And then I kind of came through. I was like, no, absolutely not. Do not call 911.
Okay.
And I went to the doctor. I was a little bit concerned. I went to the doctor.
So you had a seizure. You're on the floor. You do not let your roommate call 911.
Absolutely not. I was fine.
Okay. So you're fine.
I was fine.
Okay.
Look, there's no doubt in my mind that seizure was my body saying, we're not getting fed enough.
You're not getting what you...
And my body fat was so low, and I can't remember the term for it, but I didn't have a period for 6 months because my body fat was too low for it to sustain life. So it didn't allow that chance to be there.
Right.
But yeah, so I go to the doctor, just like a clinic, just to have a physical. And they were like, you probably want to gain like 5 pounds. And I was like, have you lost your ever-loving mind? Like, you understand, every time I was obsessed with being thin. Right? There's that obsessed word, right? I was obsessed with being thin. Every time I walked by anything that I could see my reflection in, I would look at my abdomen. Always. Does it look flat? Does it look fat? That's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know if it looked flat or fat.
But wasn't it flat at the time?
You would think so, right?
Oh, okay. Is that where you feel like you hold your weight?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, so, that was my low point that's probably as close to clinical anorexia I got.
And so, just so we know, you're not like, and I think that is a perception that some people might have, like, you're not like throwing up on the side or anything like that. You're just not eating.
Just not eating.
You're just not eating. Got it.
I wanted to throw up, but I really didn't have the ability to do it. I actually tried a few times, but it was very hard for me to. It just didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of came back from that. Did I start eating more? A little bit. Came home for the summer. Ate more at home. As I still do when I go home.
Those parents, when you go to their house, I tell you.
And I guess I started gaining some of the weight back around that year. But that summer, probably put on about 5 pounds. 5 pounds? Yeah, I was still thin. You can look at pictures of me. I was in my friend's wedding at that summer. I looked good. In my head. No, not in my head. I looked good. But then next school year, started gaining a little bit more weight. And the thing is, I really still wasn't gaining weight, but my skinny clothes didn't fit anymore because 10 pounds is the difference between clothes fitting and clothes not fitting. I don't really know exactly. I just kind of gained a few pounds, probably 10, 20 pounds back between then and when I graduated college.
So you're like what, about 125 maybe?
Yeah.
Around then? Okay. But you've gained slowly, steadily.
Kind of gained it back, yeah.
Are you eating better though?
Hell no.
Okay.
It wasn't an intentional gain back. It was I really never had control of my eating. It was either an all or nothing mentality. Either I restricted everything I ate or I just ate.
Okay, got it.
So I never had good eating habits. And then I just eventually gained weight again. Got heavier.
So you're out of college. You're working now. And you kind of doing life, and you're gaining some of the weight back. Well, now you're not heavier. So when you say heavier, you're like what, one?
I'd say the heaviest I ever got non-pregnant was probably in the 170s. So heavy. So we're going from your all-time low, which was like about 105, to like 170. Yeah, it's pretty big swing.
Okay.
Over years.
Yeah, this is not something that happened overnight.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm sure there were a few small diets in between that didn't really accomplish much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're like
out,
170.
Didn't do any of that stuff.
You're 170, and did you ever really kind of get on like a workout routine or some workout regimen other than when you were doing the walking in college? Did you?
No. So that's the thing. When I like that 1 year, I was completely obsessed with, like, I didn't eat and I worked out constantly. The next year, I still worked out, but I was no longer obsessed with it, which was probably mentally healthier.
Yes.
But physically, I gained weight as a result of it.
Right.
And then I just got out of working out altogether.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just stopped, and I'm trying to think when I stopped. It wasn't intentional. I just lost interest in it. Like I got like an exercise bike and I was going to use that, but it was kind of boring. And I lived closer to campus, didn't have a lot of walking I had to do. And then I started work, and I was working with, we had happy hours all the time, and I traveled for work all the time, and I wasn't eating well while I was traveling, and wasn't exercising at all.
Okay. So here we are a few years after you graduated from college. You've gained some of the weight. You've gained weight.
I gained a lot of weight.
And you're at about 170. So now what happens? Is there an aha moment at that point?
I don't really. Like a friend of mine, my roommate actually joined Valley Fitness.
Wow.
If you remember that, Jen.
Oh my goodness. I remember the bee.
Joined Valley Fitness. It was like a couple miles from our apartment.
Okay.
It's a nice facility. And back then, when you joined, it was an expensive membership.
Okay.
I had to join for 3 years.
Wow.
And it was like, it seemed like a lot of money at the time.
No, but the commitment for 3 years.
It was like $800, $850, but that was total. So if you broke it out over by month, it wasn't a big deal.
So bad,
but you had to go, right?
Yeah,
like you just signed up. Like you're not getting that back.
Yeah. There are people who do that, by the way. Pay for a gym membership and do not go.
There's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so you have this Bally. Your roommate his convinced you to join Bally Fitness, and so you all are joining.
It was funny though. She never went.
So she convinces you, and then she doesn't go.
She doesn't go. Okay. But I became obsessed. Shockingly, I became obsessed with it. And I would go every day. Mm-hmm. But not ridiculous. I wasn't there for hours. I'd go and I'd take an aerobics class. Usually step aerobics. It's what I really liked. It was an hour.
Okay.
It's an hour class.
That's good.
Sometimes I'd stay for a strength class afterwards. Okay. Sometimes I'd do a little bit on the stair stepper. Yeah. That was super popular in the early 90s. The Stairmaster. Yes. But wasn't obsessively on it other than I wanted to go all the time. I wanted to go every day. Yeah. And I started dieting again. Okay. How did I diet? I'm sure it wasn't healthy. I don't have a huge recollection of how I did it. Okay. I actually didn't get... I got down to about 140. Mm-hmm. Super healthy. Was living my life good. It was kind of what I weighed when I met my husband. Stayed there the whole time we were dating. Right about where I was when I got married. Mm-hmm. Was about 150 when I had kids. And then I started bouncing around again. Yeah. Yeah, so you maintained the 140, 150. Really, probably where my body would actually like to be. Yeah. You know, I think that's probably why I was able to maintain it for a long time. Right. Because that felt normal for your body. Right. It's not what I want mentally, though. Right. I want to be less than that. Of course you do. But yeah. Okay. And fortunately, my husband could care less if I weigh 110 or 180. Great man. Great man, Eric. Great man. You are a great man. For me, mentally, it's huge because that's like, it's just me that I'm trying to please. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. But it's actually, and I guess maybe this is what I wanted to talk about, because my story doesn't seem that unusual. I had a bad round in college. Mm-hmm. I went overboard. But it's not gone. It's a daily struggle. Every single morning, I start out looking at my body in the mirror and going, look a little chubby today. Or, oh, scale might be good to me today. Dependent. Every morning, I get out of bed. I take off my t-shirt that I'm sleeping in. I walk in my bathroom on my way to my scale, and I turn my head and I look in the mirror, and I always focus on my belly. And okay, it's not so bad. But then I get on the scale, and I let the scale determine how bad it is. Okay. By the way, we're going to have an episode about body dysmorphia, because I think that's something that is very real. And that more people care to admit that they do every single day. Right? Yeah. So still kind of, it's still there. It's still there, right? It's not gone. Well. But you manage it. Right? Or do you call that managing? Because now. So, okay, I manage it, but I have slips. Okay. So here's something. I haven't told anyone before. But about a year ago, I started kind of binging a little bit at times and then purging. And I didn't do it for very long because I knew it was wrong. And I knew it was a dangerous path for me to start down. So I forced myself to stop. But I can see how I could easily fall into that. Okay. Yep. Okay. So still struggling with it. Still a challenge, right? Yep. So I remember we were at the gym one morning and I didn't know this story about you. Like I didn't know, because when I met Cindy this was a year ago. So this was a year ago, met Cindy. Cindy's always looked, I mean, she's pretty solid built for... She's intimidating. For a woman my age? No, I was not going to say that. I was going to say that it's kind of intimidating. And you know, I was like, when I first saw Cindy at the gym, I was just like, whoa, okay. And so anyway, she's pretty. Even my husband, when he first met you, was like, good God. Right, and it was in the dark, okay? It was around a fireplace. So there you have it. There you go. Chew on that. Anyway,
So, I remember us on the elliptical, as we always are, on the elliptical.
Burn those calories.
This is how we solve the problem of the world. But anyway, so we're on the elliptical, we're talking, and you had mentioned that you were like, yeah, I used to be like overweight, and I'm like, but like, what does that mean? Like overweight, like what, 10, 20 pounds? And then you showed me a picture, and I was absolutely blown away because I was just like, excuse me, like this cannot be the same person. And what I know of you, I'm like, wow, and I'm thinking, what a story for her to just get to look the way she is, and for her to be so focused on well-being. And then that's when you told me, you were like, well, I have this and I have that, and I'm like, wow. And my thing was, you constantly just overcoming those tendencies that may come more natural to you than somebody else, and working through that every day.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm unusual. I think the reality is there's a tremendous number of women out there
Absolutely
that have suffered some form of disordered eating during their life. I would say, fortunately, most of us don't get to the full eating disorder level to where we need medical intervention. But I think a lot of women, and probably more men than anybody ever talks about, suffer from body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
And I think suffer from some form of disordered eating. And, so the picture you're talking about that I showed you, it's like 5.5 years old at this point. This is probably the longest in my life that I've maintained a healthy weight. Well, that's not true. Because I just got through telling you, when I met my husband, I mean, for the first 4 years, I was 140 to 150. Okay. I just still consider that fat in my head. Although at the time, I actually was okay with myself. So, I don't know. Go figure that. I think it's because when I met him, I just lost about 30 pounds. So I was feeling happy with myself. But I didn't feel like I was skinny. Yeah. Which was probably mentally the best time for me to meet somebody, because I didn't have he's only interested in me because I'm
skinny.
Right. And I also didn't have he's never going to talk to me because I'm fat. Yeah. So my mind is a very scary place, by the way. But anyway, so I did keep that, but like I got down to 125, and I kind of maintained 125 to 135 for 5.5 years. Oh, wow. That's great. But that doesn't mean that I haven't bumped up and then brought myself back down. Yeah. Because I have. It's just I've never let myself get out of control. And as I just told you, I haven't done it healthy all the time. But the majority of it has been done healthy. I have changed the way I eat to a certain degree now, a lot. I try to eat a lot of healthy foods. I try to put a lot of fruits and vegetables into my diet. I try to focus on protein, and I try not to eat a lot of junk food. Yeah. Probably to the extent that that's another disordered eating pattern that I don't like I obsess over eating healthy foods as opposed to. And I feel guilty sometimes when I eat junk. And I don't feel... maybe it's because of the way you may feel when you do eat junk, but the majority of the time you are eating healthy, which I don't think that's a bad habit. No, to be obsessing over eating healthy, but you're focusing on the obsessive part of it. Yeah. Yes. So I follow this guy on social media, I've introduced you to him before. Not introduced you like I know him, but introduced you to his stuff. Yes. But it's Jordan Syatt. Yes, I love him, by the way. Jordan, you're coming on my show. If you're listening to this, you said if you get invited, you're coming. It may take a while, but you're coming. So I just want to put it out there. You're coming on the show. Okay. So one of the things that he says is when you're offered a piece of cake, for some people it's a win to say no thank you, and for other people it's a win to eat that cake and not feel guilty. Oh. And at some points in my life, I would say both of them have been true for me. Okay. And it depends on my state of mind at that point in time, which one is actually a bigger win. Right. Now, my problem is sometimes I don't have one piece of cake. I want to have the second piece, and I want to have the third piece, and So, I think that I'm going to fight this my entire life. I don't think I'm ever going to be completely over it. Maybe if I went to counseling.
Which
okay. I'm not doing.
Okay.
But maybe if I did, I would get over it. But I think it's ingrained in me. I don't, I brought up a few things that my parents did that probably made it worse, but I don't know that it wouldn't have been here if they'd never done any of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the world in general beautifies a certain look.
Type. Oh, absolutely.
And if your body isn't that body type, and when I was growing up in the 70s and the 80s,
it was like the
skinny.
It was the supermodel,
right? Twiggy was the model,
Twiggy, right? Oh yeah.
Okay, so it was skinny.
Yeah.
That is never healthy. And I cannot be skinny like that and be healthy.
Yeah,
like that's not where my body is. So, and I have come to terms with that, but it doesn't mean I like.
Have you come to terms with that?
I don't like it, but I have come to terms with it.
Okay. Because I feel like if you had come to terms with it, and this is just completely my opinion, right? But if you had come to terms with it, it would impact, but you're still striving for it, though, in a way, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh gosh, to dig deep into this scary thing that is my mind. The things that I do, I will literally look at people and go, she looks better than me today. I might have her. I might be a little bit fitter than her. Oh, I got a little belly showing today. Oh, wait. Oh, she's got maybe. Constantly. I am constantly comparing myself to real humans. Not social media humans.
Yeah.
But to real humans.
Yeah.
I'm constantly comparing myself. People that I like. And I'm not being mean to them. I'm not ever outwardly saying it. And I'm not ever being mean to them because they're better than me or being mean to them because it's just my mind. I'm constantly comparing myself to other people and what they look like.
And I think that's something as women, and I'm not going to speak for men, but I think that's something for women that we constantly do. I don't even think that it's a Cindy eating disorder, whatever thing. I think it's a woman thing. I do that. Yeah,
and I think in my head, I confuse the body dysmorphia, body image problems.
It's all wrapped. It's all wrapped.
And maybe confusion is the wrong word, but they're all interconnected in me.
That's what I think. And I think for a lot of us they are. So I have a confession to make. I actually, for a few years, I actually took diet pills. Because
did you need them?
Probably not. Okay, I'll say this. I did not need them. But I felt like if I wasn't under 120, so my high school weight consistently was 115. That was my high school weight. That's where I lived. That's where I stayed. And it was good for me in high school. But then as you become a woman, you have children, hormones, all that stuff. I actually pretty much stayed after high school, all throughout college. I stayed 120. So it was 115, 120. I kind of played around in that little 5-pound range. And then I had kids. I started having kids. And you gain weight during pregnancy.
No.
It did. I got down to I probably got down to 120. I can't remember for sure. But I probably got down to the 120 range. And for some reason, something changed. And I was just that is not, I need to get down to 115. And so then my goal was I need to be down high school weight. And I want to say it was probably and now that I'm thinking about it, there was a moment, I'm not sure who I was having a conversation with. It probably was somebody from high school that saw me later on after college and was wow, Harley, you look exactly the same as in high school. And for me, now I'm thinking about it, that must have been that trigger moment for me that was okay, I need to stay the same weight that I was in high school. That's where I need to be. And so a friend of mine at work was she was working towards something, a goal or whatever it was. And she was oh, I'm taking these pills. But it was for her, we were having a conversation. It was I'm just working towards this goal. And then once I reach it, it wasn't supposed to be a permanent thing. And so I thought, I'll take them. I will take them and I'll be able to get the 5 pounds off and I'll be fine. Well, then it became a habit. It became like a daily thing. And it wasn't even, and I was disappointed because I would come close to the 115, but I never actually reached it. And so then it was like, I'm taking this thing, and it constantly became this, I need to reach this 115. I need to reach it. I need to reach it. I need to reach it. And then I did a fitness challenge at work. And I was like, this was back in 2015.
Okay.
2015, we did a challenge at work. It was a 12-week challenge. And it was like how much body fat you could lose and how much weight you could use. So I was like, okay, I took it seriously. My body fat went down to 9%. It was single digits. And at that, and I thought I looked, but see, the thing is, because of my weight, so I'm 5'4", 5'3.5", but 5'4", close to 5'4". And for me, the 115, so I think I got down to 116, 117. It actually did not look bad, but it was just that it was the mental aspect of it. Well, I was obsessed.
Right. But I was going to say, like, that's the body type, right?
Yes.
My body at 110.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it looks,
right.
It doesn't look good. It doesn't look healthy. Mm-hmm. But other people can look really good at 105. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they can be taller than me.
Yeah.
It's just different
It's
bodies.
different on the different, on different body types. And so.
But you were taking diet pills the whole time. And you had a 9% body fat, which is like on the cusp of being unhealthy for women.
Yeah. And
it's
so.
Like essential level.
So then it became, I need to keep up this weight. And this is when, after I ended the competition, even the person who was taking, like the person that you had to weigh in with, they were like, I need you to go eat a pizza right now. Like a whole pizza by yourself. Don't share. I need you to go eat it right now. And so I was struggling because I love food. I do. I'm like a closet eater. Like I will eat. Okay.
It's true. She got 2 desserts the other night. Really? And she ate both of them on the way to dinner.
Okay, wow. She just had to call me out like that. But anyway, so
you're one of the reasons that mentally I could never figure out, because I would go out with people who were tiny, mm-hmm. and I'd watch them eat like that. Mm-hmm. And in my head, they always ate like that, but they mm-hmm. still got to be thin. But I didn't realize that they didn't eat the whole day and most of the next day because they ate that much for dinner.
So I can literally, if I have to watch myself, but I can literally not eat all day and have like one meal really at the end of the day or the end of the afternoon. But then what happens is after a few days that catches up with me and then I'm starving and eating everything.
And so that causes that you were literally describing disordered eating.
Yeah. So... And so to say all of that is to say that I struggle with it too. And working out is one of my countermeasures. Hence the reason why I am at the gym every single day.
Except for the last 4.
Wow. Just wow. You know, she tells me I work out too much and I'm obsessed. So then I heed her advice and I take a break. And now she throws me under the bus. Like, what am I supposed to do here?
Not take a break at the same time another gym partner is taking a break.
You hear that, Rachel? So at the end of the day, it's really trying to find the balance and not in telling yourself, which is hard. The hardest thing you could ever do is telling yourself that you are okay.
So what I try and do now is when I mess up, I try and do exactly that. Mm-hmm. When I say binge, it's not clinical binging.
Right. It's not like we're sitting here in a closet with ice cream and cookies and Skittles and pie and cookie.
It's not like that. It's me clearly eating when I'm not hungry.
Oh, okay.
And it's me eating the things that are bad for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't do it very often, but it still happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's when I get the urge to throw up. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, we're not going to do it because well, one, it's bad for you to ever do that. Two, it's a slippery slope for me to do that. And three, it's gross. So I try to just go, okay, it's fine. Like, you're not going to do it again. And it's fine. It doesn't happen weekly. It doesn't even happen monthly. But it still happens sometimes.
Yeah. But you're right. It's totally the telling yourself that it's okay to have a slip up, and we are human. And for the most part, I mean, we work out. You eat way much healthier than I do. She goes to the farmer's market every week, and I'm like, my children are like, hey, can we have McDonald's today? Sure. Let me get some fries. You know? That's kind of me. And I'm like, I'm going to run it off anyway. But yeah, it's really telling yourself that it's going to be okay. But I get it. It's a mind shift, right? That is so hard to happen. It is way much harder, easier said than done.
Well, and I think, like, you just talking about what you've been through, I've been, I've had disordered eating, from eating too much to eating not at all, to, to purging, to, like, all over the place. I mean, I went through a time where I ate nothing but pretzels, like, once a day. I eat pretzels and watch my soap opera. And
which ones?
Santa Barbara.
I watched All My Children.
And that was the only time I ate like that. I'd eat my bag of pretzels and I'd lay on my sofa and I'd watch, and that was all I ate that. I mean, there are zero nutrients in a bag of pretzels. So I think it's out there. I think it's out there a lot more. I think most people hide it because
they feel like
want to look normal. And and I think a lot of people, I think there are people who are really good about it, and they legitimately eat a normal breakfast, a normal lunch, and a normal dinner every day. I don't know how they do it.
You're like, how? Or I feel like if I do that, after a while, I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta stop. What is this? What is this?
Yeah, meals a day?
Exactly. What? Like, who does that? Right?
I always remember this episode. You ever watch Roseanne?
I used to.
Show?
Yeah.
Long time ago, right?
Yeah.
She was working. I know we gotta wrap this up, but she was working, and when this skinny hairstylist she was working with comes in, she's like, I've got to do something. I've been eating way too much. And she's like, well, what have you been eating? First, I get up and I eat breakfast. Then later in the day, I eat lunch. And then finally, I finish up with dinner. It's like... And I think Roseanne at the time sent back like, well, I eat all that before 10 a.m. But it's like, that's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah. No. And I really truly feel like there are way more women that go through this than they let on. Because we're women and we feel like we have to portray a certain image, and we're pressured by media and everything else to look a certain way, and
it's supposed to be flawless. You look this way without effort.
Exactly. I even have a mug that says that. I woke up like this, flawless. I do. Like, it was given to me, and I love that mug. I do.
I don't know. I don't think it's presenting a healthy image, though.
I know. But yes, we do have to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Cindy, for putting your story out there, because, like I said, I believe that there are a lot of women dealing with this that are too afraid to talk about it, too afraid to put it out there. And I think that if we can build a community where we're like, you know what? We need to really shift our minds as to how we think about this. But knowing that somebody else can understand what I'm going through, I think it really helps. It helps with me looking, hopefully you too, you looking in a mirror and saying, okay, all right, so it's okay. It is okay. And you look amazing. She's an instructor, by the way, fitness instructor. Listen to the other podcast. She's the fitness instructor. So again, thank you for coming on and talking about this. And hopefully we can keep the conversation going. And by keeping by mentioning keeping the conversation going, make sure to check us out on Instagram, Inside the Bubble HG. Let's talk about it. Engage. Talk to us. Let us know where you are. We can help each other. We can build that community. And so I hope you enjoyed the show today. I hope you enjoyed our show today. Hit the subscribe button and share. Share this pod with your family, with your friends, with your girlfriends, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Inside the Bubble with HG. Keep the conversation going. Drop us a heart emoji. Engage with us. We would love to hear from you. New episodes are dropping every Monday on your podcast streaming platforms. And remember, there's purpose in your story.